Good evening and many thanks for joining us live on QTV. You are watching QTV News and I am Ajibintu Drame. In tonight's top stories. Monday is World Malaria Day and we hear from the Minister of Health on developments in the Gambia. The U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Cromer, on Saturday joined university students and environmentalists on a mangrove restoration exercise to commemorate World Earth Day. Help Gambia, a charitable organization with support from Gambians in the U.S. in partnership with the Brikama Area Council, on Friday donated various food items to internally displaced persons and refugees of the ongoing Casamas conflict in Fonyi. Oyster women farmers at the Kartong fish landing site highlight challenges causing the scarcity of oysters this year. And in international news, today, 23rd April, is World Book and Copyright Day, celebrated annually to promote reading, publishing, and copyright. Those are our main headlines. Now the news in detail. Thanks for joining us. Now, malaria continues to have a devastating impact in Africa, accounting for more than 95% cases and death worldwide. Ahead of this year's World Malaria Day, the Minister of Health has issued a televised statement indicating a decline in malaria cases and announced a launch program to distribute for free 2 million mosquito bed nets to the population across the country. Here is an excerpt.
World Malaria Day 2022 will reinforce the Global Fund investment case using the theme, Harness Innovation to Reduce the Malaria Disease Burden and Save Lives. This year's World Malaria Day will draw attention to the critical role innovation plays in helping to achieve global elimination goals. Today, no single tool is available to solve the problem of malaria. Innovative new tools are vital if the world is to achieve global elimination targets, including innovations in new vector control interventions and insecticides, improved diagnostic and more effective medicines, among other tools. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report that since 2004, as a result of government commitment and the sustained investment by the Global Fund and other donors, malaria cases and deaths have continued to decline to historically low levels, resulting to a general decline in malaria incidence in the Gambia by 50%. Admissions due to malaria in hospitals and health facilities dropped by 74%, and deaths attributed to malaria have dropped by 90%. Furthermore, malaria parasite prevalence dropped from 4% in 2011 to 0.2% in 2014. Most significantly, the malaria prevalence has declined even further to 0.1% currently. Ladies and gentlemen, the continued COVID-19 outbreak underscores the critical importance of having a strong surveillance and healthcare system to effectively address existing infectious diseases like malaria and new and emerging ones like COVID-19. You will agree with me that efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19 are necessary to protect health systems, yet these efforts must not compromise access to life-saving malaria prevention, diagnosis and treatment services, or threaten to reverse the decades of hard-fought progress against malaria. We are all currently faced with the daunting challenges across all levels. For instance, at the national level, the COVID-19 pandemic has put extra strain on the provision of essential malaria services, which may lead to higher morbidity and mortality. At the global level, potential impacts include the disruption of supply chains for life-saving commodities, such as insecticide-treated mosquito nets and anti-malarial drugs. Therefore, at the community level, we must support the community-based interventions, integrated case management to ensure quality care for malaria patients, and relieve pressure placed on health facilities by non-COVID-19 febrile illnesses. There will be challenges of multi-morbidity as COVID-19 moves through the malaria endemic countries. Therefore, it will require continuous monitoring and innovation for community and facility health providers. As the world grapples with COVID-19, this World Malaria Day will also highlight the importance of maintaining a robust health system, which must be our primary line of defense. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, diseases do not respect borders. Therefore, increased malaria transmission resulting from overburdened health systems could spread from other countries or to other countries that are approaching zero malaria cases. Without upholding commitments to end malaria, we risk losing the major gains we have made towards malaria elimination. In this regard, despite the current challenges, the Ministry of Health will continue to implement safely universal coverage campaigns for long-lasting insecticide-treated nets, conduct seasonal malaria chemo prevention, and also indoor residual spraying, focusing on reaching those at highest risk. Those are the women and children under 5 across the country. We cannot leave anyone behind. This year, I'm happy to announce that the Ministry of Health, with the support from the Global Fund and other donors, will be conducting a free distribution of over 2 million bed nets to all Gambians and residents of the Gambia. The campaign is scheduled to start in May 2022 for a period of 1 month. Ladies and gentlemen, malaria prevention and control is the business of everyone in the country, including families, communities, local businesses, civil society organizations, government agencies, and international organizations. We all need to mobilize all available means to control malaria. Together we can combat malaria and make the life of every child, woman, and man count so that we can achieve our desired goal of zero malaria. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
The U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Cromer, on Saturday joined university students and environmentalists on a mangrove restoration exercise at the Tanbi wetland in Old Joshua. Aliu Sise saw them in action and he now reports.
This mangrove planting exercise was spearheaded by the students of the University of the Gambia Environmental Alliance, and climate champions with the support of the U.S. Embassy office in Banjul. The exercise on this degraded wetland in Old Joshua is part of activities marking World Earth Day 2022 under the theme Invest in Our Planet. Mangroves help in preserving thousands of species, prevent erosion, protect shoreline, and help people survive. The U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Cromer, said climate change continues to be at the core of U.S. policy, diplomacy, and national security. She emphasized that tackling climate change is a must for all.
This is a marvelous demonstration of environmental champions in action here in the Gambia. The Gambia is a beautiful country with precious wetlands and a beautiful ecosystem that we must always protect. Thank you.
What advice do you have for these volunteers in terms of ensuring that these mangroves are looked after to serve the purpose for which they have been planted here today?
I would advise the champions to recruit more people, more volunteers, to come out and plant mangrove trees. This is a vast land, as you can see. More planting can be done, not just on Earth Day, but each and every day. They need to be protected. We see that some of the plants that were planted earlier may have been stomped. And we've got to go back to these wetlands and make sure that the plants are thriving. So I encourage Gambians to come out, volunteer, be environmental champions for this country.
Mamadou Inkeba, the chairman of the Gambia Environment Alliance, explained that this is part of the many interventions to contribute towards fighting the devastating effects of climate change through climate action. He said similar exercises were carried out in the West Coast region, the Lower River region, and the North Bank region.
If you are committed and no action is taken, actually we are not going to create widespread impact. So the mangrove, one of the most important thing about the mangrove is it supports biodiversity. I mean, humans don't own this world. We don't own Mother Earth. We are here with other ecosystems. We are here with other animals. So the mangroves support biodiversity in a sense that it's a very good habitat, a very good breeding ground for fishes, oysters, shrimps, and other marine ecosystems.
For this and many other environmentalists, action is the only credible response to address environmental degradation. Ibrahim Echam, UTG Students Union Minister for Environment and Agriculture, and Modou Lamin Jame, Deputy Secretary General of the Students Union, thanked the U.S. Embassy for supporting the exercise and Ambassador Krumah for attending the event.
We are gradually losing our ecosystems. So it is very important for us as youths to come together and then put actions to be able to restore the dwindling ecosystem that we are facing day by day.
We only have art, and then we have to put synergy of efforts to ensure that we preserve and conserve our planet. And not only conserve the planet for us, but of course for the future generation.
As they plant these mangroves, it is hoped that they will be looked after to ensure to grow to serve the purpose for which they are planted. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Moving on, Help Gambia, a charitable organization with support from Gambians in the U.S., on Friday, in partnership with the Birkama Area Council and the NDMA, donated various food items to internally displaced persons and refugees of the ongoing Casamas conflict. And Spani Esonyase reports.
The donation of these food items is one of several interventions made by associations of Gambians in the U.S. and their sister organization Help Gambia, as part of their efforts to complement government efforts to support internally displaced families currently hosted in Demban village in the West Coast region. Food items such as rice, onions, cooking oil, sweet potatoes, amongst others, are being distributed to these families who have been forced to flee their homes by the ongoing Casamas conflict. Dr. Cham and Aliou Jallow, both officials of Help Gambia, thanked the donors and their partners, especially Gambians in the U.S., for extending support to these families, who now only rely on the benevolence of their host families for both their shelter and survival.
As an organization, when disasters or crises like this happen, we reach out to our partners like the Gambian Association in Minnesota and in Seattle and as well as Atlanta to see how we can support the internally displaced Gambians. We really want to say thanks to our donors and also our partners, Birkama Area Council and the National Disaster Management Agency. They have been our strongest partners in our work, and then whenever we reach out to them, they are always available to support us. So we just want to say thanks to them, and then we hope that the beneficiaries of these small token would really find it very useful.
This has not been the first time they've been supporting. Back in 2020, when the COVID-19 hit, the pandemic, we all know that the world was going through trying moments. As such, the little they could do was to also contribute to helping the underprivileged. We all know that the Gambia, the average people live on a less than $1 per day. So this, they feel like the little change that they have, they could send it here and impact some changes.
Modou Jonga, CEO of Birkama Area Council, said his council is happy to partner with Help Gambia and the NDMA to support the internally displaced people in the West Coast region. Meanwhile, the Alcalo of Nemban, Mohamed Lamin Baji, thanked Help Gambia and their partners for their support.
We are very hopeful as a council that these donated items will be put into good use because the partners involved, are very credible. NDMA, like I said earlier on, and Help Gambia as well. I also want to outline the willingness of the council as the primary duty bearer to continue to work with NDMA and any other partner that has an interest to respond to the immediate needs of the displaced persons within this part of the region.
Some time ago, we had certain conflict that is going on by the border of the Casamans and the Gambia. So this is the reason why they're here to help the situation. Helping the situation is like seeing how best they can take care of you with your positions and your situations as well.
Other speakers included Bintasi Jarama, NDMA Director for West Coast Region, and Serif Bojang, one of the beneficiaries, who all expressed their gratitude at the donation of the food items. Answane Sonyasi for QTV News.
Well, from that story, we will go for a short commercial break. Still to come, we have more stories. Do stay tuned.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Now, oyster women farmers at the Katong Fish Landing site highlight challenges causing the scarcity of oyster this year. As Jenna Bosonko reports, this has led to a price increase.
The adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic are affecting women oyster farmers in Katong. The pandemic required social distancing measures, and these women had to stop oyster farming for a year. According to them, they strongly believe that not farming for a year would mean having access to abundant and bigger oysters.
We did not harvest oysters last year. The majority of the oysters died and the remaining ones are too small. We are faced with the burden of traveling far to get the ones we are able to sell now. It is difficult to even get 3 to 4 baskets. That's why the price has increased.
For Safi, aside from the fact that the coronavirus pandemic has caused a lot of challenges, there were already existing challenges to overcome.
We face lots of difficulties. Our canoes are not in good condition because we left them in the water throughout the coronavirus pandemic. Aside from the challenges caused by the pandemic, when we get into the waters, we get injured by the cells, despite putting on shoes and sweaters.
The women say they need financial support, especially considering it's Ramadan, and they usually fund their Eid preparations from the money they get here.
The scarcity of oysters has brought about financial constraints, as we would normally harvest oysters during Ramadan, and we use the money from here to prepare for Eid.
Oysters are referred to as sustainable food due to their usual availability. However, oysters have to be harvested on time for the yield to be beneficial. Integrating them into your diet can have a lot of benefits, including boosting your immune system. The plight of these women oyster farmers is yet another victim of the coronavirus pandemic. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Now onto some international news. Today, 23rd April, is World Book and Copyright Day. The annual event is organized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization to promote reading, publishing and copyright. More in this report by Babukar Sise.
World Book and Copyright Day, also known as International Day of the Book, was first celebrated on 7th October 1926 to honor the birthday of author Miguel de la Cervantes, who wrote Don Quixote. In 1995, UNESCO decided that the World Book and Copyright Day would be celebrated on 23rd April. The date is believed to be symbolic in world literature because many prominent authors such as William Shakespeare and Inca Garcilaso de la Vega died on this date. Besides, April 23rd is also the date of birth or death of other famous authors such as Maurice Druon and Vladimir Nabokov. Books help us share ideas, obtain information, and inspire admiration for different cultures, enabling far-reaching forms of dialogue between people across space and time. According to UNESCO, storytelling is an incredibly effective tool for educating younger generations. On this occasion, UNESCO and the international organizations representing the three major sectors of the book industry, publishers, booksellers, and libraries, select the World Book Capital. In 2021, it was Tbilisi, Georgia. In 2022, the World Book Capital is the Mexican city of Guadalajara. On this day, UNESCO urges its partners to help amplify the message that books are a force to address contemporary challenges, to understand political and economic realities, and to combat inequalities and misinformation. It is hoped that the commemoration of this day will lead to a renewed respect for those who have made irreplaceable contributions to social and cultural progress. It is also hoped that World Book and Copyright Day will increase people's understanding and adherence to copyright laws and other measures to protect intellectual copyright. In the Gambia, the event is celebrated by the Writers Association. Prominent Gambian politician Halifa Sallah, Chief Justice of the Gambia Hassan B. Jallow, Professor Lamin E. Sane, Dr. Florence Mahoney, Dr. Lenry Peters, Honorable Samba Fall, Professor Suleiman S. Nyang, Nana Gray Johnson, Dr. Ibrahima Sise, and Amisila are among a list of 100 most influential Gambian writers issued by the Writers Association last year. Some of them are among the first Gambian writers to be shortlisted for the Commonwealth Short Story Prize. Currently, the literacy rate in the Gambia is 55.5%. Among our neighbors in Senegal, it is 55.7%. In Guinea-Bissau, it is 59.9%, and in Cape Verde, the rate is 87.6%. Mark Twain, an American writer, humorist, entrepreneur, publisher, and lecturer said, "The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who can't read." Babukar Sise, QTV News.
Well, before we end, here's a recap of our main headlines. Monday is World Malaria Day, and we heard from the Minister of Health on developments in the Gambia. The U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Cromer, on Saturday joined university students and environmentalists on a mangrove restoration exercise to commemorate World Earth Day. Help Gambia, a charitable organization with support from Gambians in the U.S. in partnership with the Birkama Area Council, on Friday donated various food items to internally displaced persons and refugees of the ongoing Casamas conflict in Fonyi. Oyster women farmers at the Carton Fish Landing site highlight challenges causing the scarcity of oysters this year. And in international news, today, 23rd April, is World Book and Copyright Day, celebrated annually to promote reading, publishing, and copyright. Well, that's it from me in tonight's edition. Thank you for watching.